What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC Vegas. Curtis Blaydes versus Derrick Lewis, and I normally don't talk bad about cards and all that, but this card's pretty rough. It really is. We already lost one fight going from 12 fights down to 11. We lost the Albazi and Zumagulov fight. And man, I guess there's some fights I'm really interested in. I think Baeza Sato is going to be fun. I think Carlye Algeo is going to be a good fight. I think that Kamaka Pierce should be fun as well. Other than that, there's really not many fights I'm overly interested in seeing. Anthony Smith, Devin Clark as the co-main event. Curtis Blaydes Lewis. I mean, it's not the best card, but still another opportunity to make some money here. A couple announcements to make. Just want to shout out the winner to the contest last week, Rick Martinez, who is a guy that does comment on my videos a lot, so I do recognize him. Congratulations, Rick. 62 significant strikes for Valentina Shevchenko. So comment down your PayPal, Cashapp, Venmo, all that good stuff. I will get you your winnings there. And surprisingly, there was a three-way tie. Three different guys got the 62 significant strikes there. So as I said, the tiebreaker would be the person that commented first, and that was Rick Martinez. He was actually one of the first people to comment on the video in general, so shout out to him. I'm going to be doing more giveaways in the near future there. And I do want to also shout out Mr. Arkansas. If you guys don't know him, another guy that's been in the MMA community for a while. He's doing this thing called the Mecca. It's a competition where it's kind of like Predictor Wars. It's something else he did in the past, but with a different twist. And I'm also in it as well. We're into week 3. I did just defeat UFC Bro Picks, another guy in the community. And the one thing that we had different was I had Joaquin Buckley, he had Jordan Wright. So it's pretty fun. Has a social twist to it. You got to vote guys out if they are in the bottom. So go check that out. It's a really fun competition over there. And other than that, I mean, really excited for this week, coming off of a really weird week last week. Started out the week or the night 1-3. Really bad start. Kosuke as a huge favorite lost. Daniel Rodriguez lost, arguably won that fight. A lot of people thought he did. I mean, it was a close fight, but I did not think that Rodriguez showed up whatsoever. And then after those 4 fights, finished the night 7-1. So for a total of 8-4. And yeah, it wasn't the best night in the world. Tim Means was able to cash as an underdog. Joaquin Buckley was able to get that knockout, which was awesome to see. And then Figueiredo was able to close out a parlay of mine. So wasn't an awful night. Could have been a lot better, but it is what it is. Time to get into UFC Vegas 15 here. And we're going to start with the first fight of the night. And yeah, this is probably a decent fight here. We have Luke Sanders versus Nate Maness. And Sanders, he is 34 years old, coming off of a pretty decent layoff, almost 2-year layoff, honestly. And he is 5'6" with a 71-inch reach, going to be at a 4-inch height disadvantage and a 1-inch reach disadvantage. And Sanders is 13-3 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. And as for Nate Maness, he is 29 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 12-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So looking at the odds here, so it's really interesting. So Sanders actually opened up a plus 140 underdog, and he's actually sitting at minus 140 now. So a huge line flip there, and rightfully so. I really do think that Sanders is the much better fighter in this spot. I'm not impressed with Maness at all, especially in his UFC debut. He looked awful. I thought he probably even lost that fight if it wasn't for Johnny Munoz losing a point. I think that Maness probably lost. I really did. I was not impressed. He got outlanded 2-1 in that fight. He got taken down twice, got controlled a lot in that fight as well. He just did not impress me. And watching tape back from that fight, I wasn't impressed at all as well. I mean, the dude does not throw much volume. Sanders is someone who throws a ton of volume. Sanders lands 6 significant strikes per minute. And I just think Sanders has fought the much better competition, and it's really not even close whatsoever. And yeah, I like Sanders here. I mean, 34 years old, the layoff is concerning, but I just think he's the much better fighter here. I think he should get the job done. I think he could control Maness up against the cage. I think he could take him down if he wants to. Sanders only has 1 takedown in the UFC so far, but yeah, I think he could take down Maness if he wanted to. I remember Maness was supposed to fight Ray Borg, his last fight, and then that's why Munoz came in on short notice. I believe Ray Borg would have destroyed that dude, and I had Ray Borg in a parlay. I wish that fight would have went through, but Ray Borg did his Ray Borg things and I had to pull out there. But yeah, I think Sanders is a much better fighter. I think he gets it done. The more experience in the UFC, I like Sanders here to get it done there. Minus 140, it's not an awful look. Obviously, you would have liked to get that plus money, but that plus money was not there for long, and for a good reason. So the pick's going to be Luke Sanders. I'm going to say by decision, but wouldn't be surprised if he finished him as well. So Luke Sanders for me. All right, this fight is should be a decent one here. And we have Mudaerji versus Malcolm Gordon. And Mudaerji, he is 24 years old, very young fighter, 5'8", 72-inch reach, 12-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Malcolm Gordon, he is 30 years old, 5'7", 70-inch reach, 12-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So really interesting fight here. We'll take a look at the odds. And Mudaerji is a really big favorite. -320, opened up -375. Malcolm Gordon is +260. And yeah, for a really good reason. I mean, I'm not overly impressed with Malcolm Gordon whatsoever. This dude is a BJJ black belt. Went into his last fight, got taken down by Amir Albazi. And in that fight, I actually did have Gordon. I didn't bet him or nothing, but I did pick him. And, I mean, Albazi took him down. I was like, sweet. And then the fight got to the ground because I was thinking Gordon would probably shoot takedowns, but he didn't. And anyway, so Gordon was on his back in that fight. Ended up getting a nice reversal, towards the end of the round, and got caught in a triangle to the purple belt, Amir Albazi. And, man, like, I don't know. I think Gordon's low-key a fraud here. I said in that fight, before the Albazi fight, he worked on his striking. His striking's improved a ton, and he got outlanded by Albazi in that fight. He looked pretty bad. And watching tape on him throughout his career, like, his striking is very, very, very questionable. He covers up whenever he gets hit. He does not like getting hit. He's kind of like Jordan Wright from last week. Jordan Wright does not like being hit whatsoever. I think Malcolm Gordon's even worse than Jordan Wright there, in the sense of he does not like being hit. He covers up. He leaves his body wide open. Malcolm Gordon's been knocked out 3 times he's been knocked out 3 times in 16 fights, and he gets hurt. And like, I swear, like, every fight I watched of Malcolm Gordon, this dude was getting hurt. Like, he has no chin whatsoever, and he leaves his body wide open. And guess what Mudaerji is really good at? He is really good at going to the body. So I did put out a tweet. If you do not follow me, DFS_numbers on Twitter. And so both these guys have never lost by decision. And Mudaerji, really good finisher. I just talked about some of the numbers and everything. Basically, I think Mudaerji is going to knock him out. And basically, I think that line's a little crazy for it. So I do have a bet, and I'll throw this one out for you guys. I do have a bet on Mudaerji to win inside the distance. I got it at -120. I think that line's pretty off, especially considering he's like -300 and something. Yeah, I think -120 for him to win inside the distance, fantastic. I think the knockout prop of +125 is something you can go to, but I do have a pretty sizable play on Mudaerji inside the distance. I think he's going to finish this, and I think he's going to finish it early. I honestly think Gordon's probably a fraud here. I don't like his striking. Body's wide open, and Mudaerji has really good body kicks, so I do think Mudaerji's going to finish him in the first round with a nice body kick there. And yeah, hopefully make some money off that one, because I do think there's a big discrepancy in the striking. The only problem is Mudaerji has been submitted 4 times. Gordon, BJJ black belt, but Mudaerji's definitely improving that takedown defense. He's definitely working on that ground game. And we saw in his last fight against Andrei Sukhomtov, which is, he's not great, but he was able to stuff takedowns. He was doing all the right things. I do think he's improving a lot. Only 24 years old, so we're going to see leaps and bounds each fight in improvement. And I don't know if Gordon has the takedowns to really get him down there. So if you do want to take a shot on Gordon, probably play the sub prop +550. Other than that, it should be Mudaerji all day here. Next we have, yeah, this fight should actually be really good. Kai Kamaka versus Jonathan Pierce. And Kai Kamaka, he's 25 years old, 5'7", 69-inch reach, 8-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jonathan Pierce, he is 28 years old, 6 foot, 71.5-inch reach, 9-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Yeah, and we'll take a look at the odds, and I just think these odds are absolutely insane. So Kai Kamaka opened up a massive favorite at -400, currently sitting at -310, and Jonathan Pierce is sitting at +255 right now. So, yeah, I would say I understand that, but I really don't. Like, Kai Kamaka, I mean, he looked really impressive in his first UFC debut against Tony Kelly, but he did absorb a ton of significant strikes. He absorbed 7.6 per minute, only had a 49% striking defense in that fight, but he did dish out a lot. I believe he landed like 114 significant strikes on Tony Kelly. And Jonathan Pierce, he looked awful in his last fight against Joe Lozon. Joe Lozon was able to finish him in like the first minute and a half. And I think people are really, really looking into that or something, because, man, I went back and watched the tape on Jonathan Pierce pre-UFC, and he actually looks really solid. Really good takedown defense. He throws a ton of volume. He's very, very tough, has a lot of heart. The problem is he's been finished a ton. He's been knocked out once. He's been submitted 3 times. And I don't think he's really got to worry about here against Kai Kamaka. Kai Kamaka has no knockout wins on his record. He has 1 submission win, only a 13% finish rate. And yeah, Kamaka, I do want to say he's the more technical striker. He has the better striking defense. Jonathan Pierce has virtually no striking defense. He leaves a lot of openings. For that reason, I'm going to slightly lean Kamaka, but notice I say slightly lean. When you say slightly lean, you won't be expecting really a minus 300 and something favorite. So yeah, definitely leave Kamaka out of the parlays. This fight is going to be very, very close. I don't really understand the hype of Kamaka. I thought the Tony Kelly fight was actually pretty close. And Jonathan Pierce is going to go for it. Like I said, he has a lot of heart. He throws a ton of significant strikes. I think in a 2-fight sample here for Pierce, he lands just about 12 significant strikes per minute. So, yeah, I actually, if anything, it's definitely dog or pass, but I really want nothing to do with this fight. And another thing, Kamaka is going to be coming up in weight for this fight, which is a big red flag because Pierce is going to have what? A pretty solid height advantage and a pretty decent, only a 2.5-inch reach advantage, but still, Pierce is going to be the much bigger fighter. I want to see the weigh-ins for this one. If Pierce is like, a lot bigger, maybe it's worth taking a shot on Pierce at that dog money, but I am going to slightly lean with Kamaka to get a close decision, just due to him being more technical. He does throw a lot of output himself, and Pierce is extremely hittable. So give me Kamaka, but not really confident in it. And next we have a fight that is, oh my gosh, tough fight to call here. But yeah, should be interesting. Gina Mazany, she is 32 years old, 5'6", 68.5-inch reach. So she will have a 3-inch height advantage and about a 6.5-inch reach advantage. She is 6-4 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Rachel Ostovich, she is 29 years old, 5'3", 62-inch reach, 4-5, and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. 4-5. So we'll take a look at the odds here, and don't bet this fight either way. I see a lot of people going out here and betting this fight. That's not the best idea in the world. But Mazany is minus 135. She opened up minus 125, and Rachel Ostovich is plus 115. Yeah, so definitely don't bet on this fight, but Mazany, she lands 2.75 significant strikes per minute with a 49% striking accuracy. She absorbs 3.14, so she is absorbing more than she's giving out with only a 49% striking defense. She does land 3.14 takedowns per 15 minutes with a 70% accuracy, but she has a 20% takedown defense, and I do think that's going to be pretty big in this fight. Ostovich, she does land only 2.32 significant strikes per minute with a 43% accuracy, and she does absorb as well more than she's giving out with absorbing 3.28 significant strikes per minute. A little bit of better striking defense with 59%. And Ostovich, pretty solid wrestling, and I really like that on tape. Like, she's good at getting takedowns, 100% takedown accuracy, averaging 3.28 takedowns per 15 minutes, and a 100% takedown defense herself. And yeah, so Mazany, decent finisher, finishing 70% of her wins. She has lost by decision once. She's lost by knockout twice. She's lost by submission once. Ostovich has won by submission 60% of the time for a 60% total finish rate, and Ostovich has been submitted 3 times herself. Man, such an ugly fight here. I'm honestly shocked that this isn't a pick'em. I'm actually going to take the underdog here with Ostovich. Mazany just having the 20% takedown defense. If Ostovich is able to get on top, I do think she can do some damage. And Mazany, she's had such a bad run in the UFC. She's been finished so many times. Just in 10 fights, she's been finished 30% of the time. So I'm going to take Ostovich to, I don't know, I'm probably going to get a finish, honestly. I think she's going to finish, I think Ostovich is going to finish Mazany. If anything, like in this fight, maybe take a look at the under, because both are decent finishers. Both have been finished a ton. So in their combined, let's see here, 3, 6, 8. In their combined 8 losses, they've been finished 6 out of 8 times. So yeah, look at the under here. If it's a decent line, I haven't really checked it, but under could be interesting, especially in the small cage. Can't trust either fighter here. Do not bet on either fighter here. If anything, it's definitely dog or pass, and I'm going to slightly lean with Ostovich to get, I'm going to say submission. I'm going to say submission here for Ostovich. I'm going to say she gets on top, gets the submission, but yeah, just no confidence. Both these fighters are very, very low level, not UFC level at all. So Ostovich for me, and yeah, not looking forward to that one. So wanted to get a dog in there. Ostovich is not a bad dog, but wouldn't bet it for sure. All right, next we have, yeah, good fight here. Martin Day versus Anderson dos Santos. And Martin Day is 32 years old, 5'10", 70-inch reach, 8-4. 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Anderson dos Santos, he is 35 years old, 5'5", 70-inch reach, 22-8 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So Martin Day is going to have, what, a 5-inch height advantage. And we'll take a look at the odds here. Day is minus 155, and dos Santos is plus 135. So Day actually opened up minus 245. A lot of money coming in on the dos Santos side. I mean, I can kind of understand why, especially like in Day's last fight, getting knocked out by Davy Grant is an awful look, but believe it or not, I actually called that. So I was really high on Davy Grant in the last fight just due to the fact that there was rumors. Well, they weren't really rumors. It was true. Martin Day's last fight was training on Zoom. He was doing a training camp on Zoom, which is a huge red flag. And Davy Grant, I think it like owns a gym or something. So I actually went with Davy Grant as an underdog there to get the knockout. And, Davy Grant said in an interview that he was going to get the knockout. He went out there and did it. So that was pretty cool to see there. But in this fight, yeah, I think Day's going to be more prepared for this fight for sure. I actually am really impressed with his striking. I think he's leaps and bounds the better striker than Anderson Dos Santos. Day does land a 5.39 significant strikes per minute compared to Dos Santos' 2.7. And Dos Santos absorbs a ton of significant strikes. Like, this is a dude that plays defense with his face. He gets hit. He absorbs 5.23 significant strikes per minute. And I think Day's going to have a field day on the feet. It's just, can Dos Santos get Day down? And I think Day has solid takedown defense, but yeah, Dos Santos really needs to go to that wrestling in this fight or he's going to get dominated here. So Dos Santos lands only 1 takedown per 15 minutes so far. I think like a 2-fight sample, 20% takedown accuracy. He fought Andre Ewell, which is Ewell's somebody you can typically take down and control for a decent amount of time. And he took him down twice, I believe. Had some decent control time, still lost that fight. But yeah, when it's on the feet, it's going to be Day all day. Dos Santos could possibly get Day down. So Day has been finished twice by strikes. And I don't know if Dos Santos is going to knock him out, but Day is a little bit on the chinny side. I think Day's going to get it done here. I'm going to say by decision. I wouldn't be surprised if he finished Dos Santos as well. Dos Santos has been knocked out 3 times, and he's going to get hit a lot, and he's going to get hit really hard. And Martin Day has some really good power. He really does. So I'm going to take Day to win. You know what? I'm going to go by knockout. I'm actually going to go by knockout here. I'm going to say he's going to knock out Anderson Dos Santos. Dos Santos stands way too much. If I was Dos Santos, go in there for a takedown right away. Don't mess around on the feet because he probably will get clipped. Day is he's a legit striker. He really is there. So definitely not going to bet it. I thought there'd be some more love for Dos Santos, especially considering Day's last performance against Grant. But like I mentioned, he was really not prepared. I mean, training on Zoom, not a good look there. So Day here for me, and I'm not overly confident in it, but I do like him to get the win there. Another fight I have like zero confidence in, and this is another fight that's really hard to call, and I see people confident on one side, and I just don't understand it. Like, I really don't. This is not a fight you should be betting whatsoever, and that's Ashley Evans Smith versus Norma Dumont. And Smith is 33 years old, 5'8", 67.5-inch reach, 6-4 and 2-3 in her last 5 fights. Norma Dumont, she is 30 years old, 5'7", 67-inch reach, 4-1, and obviously 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She only has 5 fights. And taking a look at the line, yeah, this should be closer to a pick'em. So Ashley Evans Smith opened up plus 145, and she is now minus 135. So people are betting Smith all the way to a minus 135 favorite, which I really don't agree with. I don't see how anybody can be confident in one side just due to the fact that there's really no tape on Norma Dumont. I was able to watch 2, maybe 3 fights on Dumont. And in the fights I watched, like, she looks really good. Not the Megan Anderson fight, but she looks really good. She looks big. She looks strong. Decent striking. Decent ground game. It's just the people that she's fought are extremely low level. So it's really hard to gauge where Norma Dumont is at this point. I mean, she's going to be the younger fighter. She's going to be, I don't know. It's tough to gauge. There's really not much tape on it. And Ashley Evans Smith, I'm not overly impressed with her. Lands a lot of volume. She throws a ton of volume each fight. Only lands 35% of her strikes, though. And I don't know. I feel like I want to see the weigh-ins for this fight. Maybe that'll give me a better read there. Because Dumont looked okay against Anderson, I guess. I think she was able to take Anderson down. Ended up getting knocked out by Anderson. I'm going to slightly lean with the dog here with Dumont. And I'm probably going to be the only person picking Dumont, but I'm not overly high on Ashley Evans Smith. I just don't think she's all that great. And Dumont, somebody's got to know something about her because they fed her to Megan Anderson, and Anderson was about to get the title shot against Amanda Nunes. And I know that the division's really weak, but I remember Dumont calling out Amanda Nunes before the Megan Anderson fight. She was calling out Amanda Nunes, calling her shot before that fight, ended up getting knocked out in the first round. But yeah, I'm going to slightly lean with Dumont. Zero confidence, not going to bet it, as you should not as well. You should not bet the Ashley Evans Smith side. You should not bet the Dumont side. This is the biggest passive I've seen one because there's no information. We don't have much tape on Dumont, and like I said, she looks good. She looks really good on tape. It's just she hasn't fought anybody. And is Ashley Evans Smith somebody, I don't know. I really don't know. So I'm going to slightly take the dog here, and I think I'm going to be one of the only people that do that. So yeah, I'm going to take the risk there with Dumont. But yeah, not betting it. Would not bet this fight in a million years. And I see a ton of people betting this fight. Don't do that. That's not really smart there. But yeah, Ashley Evans-Smith has been submitted twice. Dumont's been knocked out once by Megan Anderson. Dumont has won half of her fights by submission, decent takedowns. Ashley Evans-Smith has won half of her fights by knockout. So, I don't know. Maybe look at the fight doesn't go to decision, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, give me Dumont to win. I don't know. I'm going to say by decision, but wouldn't be surprised if she did get out Ashley Evans-Smith there. All right. Exciting fight here. Really exciting fight here. Spike Carlisle versus Bill Algeo. And taking a look at the odds here, Spike Carlisle is -170 and Bill Algeo is +150. I think Bill Algeo is going to be a pretty popular underdog here for sure. A lot of people don't like Spike Carlisle, and a lot of people do. I like Spike Carlisle quite a bit. I do like his style, and we'll get into it a little bit. But Spike Carlisle, he is 27 years old, 5'8", 71-inch reach, 9-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So he's going to be at a decent size disadvantage here, which is kind of weird because Carlisle's a pretty big dude. And Algeo is 6 foot, 73.5-inch reach, 13-5, 6-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. And yeah, this fight's really interesting. I think it could play out kind of close. A lot of people are crapping on Carlisle's cardio, and rightfully so. Like, his cardio is really bad, but I have seen Algeo slow down in a lot of fights as well. I remember on the Contender Series, he slowed down a ton. In that 3rd round, he was dead tired. And yeah, so was Carlisle in his last fight against Billy Q, and in that fight, had a really good 1st round. Well, he had a really good 5 minutes and 59 seconds. 4 minutes and 59 seconds until, he walked up. Like, there was still like 10 seconds left on the clock. He got up. He was on top, landing some ground and pound, got up, walked away while the fight was still going on, and Billy Q was able to drop him at the end of the round. And I think that's what won Billy Q the fight, probably, right there. So, yeah, kind of questionable IQ, questionable cardio for Carlisle. But what I like about Carlisle is he definitely goes after it. He leaves it all out on the table, and when he is tired, he's still going out there and getting takedowns. He's still going out there and getting reversals. And on the feet, it's going to be, I don't know, I think Carlisle is a more dangerous fighter on the feet, but I do think Algeo is the better striker. I think Algeo is going to throw a lot more volume. Carlisle has a 34% striking defense, and Algeo has a 35%, but yeah, I think Carlisle is going to come out here and take down Algeo in that 1st round. I think Carlisle is going to win the 1st round for sure. It's just after that 1st round, what's going to happen if Carlisle does not get the finish. But I'm actually going to say Carlisle gets the finish here. Algeo has been submitted twice a long time ago, though. I'm going to say Carlisle knocks him out in that 1st round with some ground and pound. Algeo, he did impress in his last fight, and I think a lot of people are really looking into that a little bit too much. But I'm going to take Carlisle to get it done early here. 89% finish rate for Carlisle. The dude's never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. Very, very tough. And like I said, Carlisle has some bad cardio, but I don't think Algeo's cardio is all that impressive as well. If Algeo is able to survive the 1st round, sure, he's definitely live, but I'm going to say Carlisle gets him out of there early. But yeah, probably not going to bet it. Maybe look at the under 2.5. Kind of crazy. They set it at 2.5 there. You'd think with Carlisle's style, they'd set it at 1.5, but yeah, don't mind the under 2.5 there if it's a decent line. So give me Carlisle by 1st round KO TKO. All right, and then next we have another really good fight. So that was a great fight, the last fight, and then another one that I really like here, and that is Miguel Baeza versus Takashi Sato. And yeah, so Baeza is 28 years old, younger fighter here, 6'2", 74.5-inch reach, going to be the taller guy with a better reach here, about 1.5 inch reach. 9-0 and obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Takashi Sato, 30 years old, 5'10", 73-inch reach, 16-3 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So, looking at the line here, Baeza -150, Sato +130. Baeza opened up -225. I kind of more so agree with the opener there. But I get it. A lot of people are on Sato this week, and understandable. But I think there's this narrative going around that I think is pretty crazy. So Matt Brown rocked Baeza their last fight. And I think people are looking at that way too much. Like, he did rock Baeza. Baeza was able to recover, get the finish himself. But you got to remember, like, Sato was rocked by Ben Saunders a couple fights ago. Ben Saunders. And in that fight, he actually got outpointed in the 1st round by Ben Saunders, which is a huge red flag. And I'm not overly sold on Sato whatsoever. I don't think he's the greatest fighter in the world. pretty low volume throws, 1 maybe 2 strikes at a time. His only wins in the UFC against Ben Saunders and his last one, Jason Witt, who Jason Witt's been knocked out like what 5-6 times. So yeah, not overly impressed with the dude. I do think the dude's actually on the chinny side. He's been knocked out before. He got rocked by Ben Saunders. Baeza, I actually like what I see from him. He's very technical, very good, throws a lot of volume. I really like the leg kicks, and I think the leg kicks are going to be a huge factor in this fight. Sato's very heavy on that lead leg, and Baeza's leg kicks are deadly there. So I actually like Baeza quite a bit. I actually like the line. I don't mind the inside the distance play as well. And yeah, give me Baeza here. I'm going to say he gets him out of there in the first round. I will be concerned, though, if this does get extended to like the third round, because Baeza does slow down a little bit, but I don't really see this getting out of the first, maybe second round, because both these guys, especially in the small cage, are going to go at it. Both guys have a lot of power. Could Sato catch Baeza? Sure, he could, but I just think Baeza's, the better fighter overall by a decent margin. I'm not overly sold on Sato. I think Baeza's more technical, throwing a lot more. I think he has a better striking defense as well. Does back up a little bit, which I don't like, but yeah, Baeza should get it done here. The line isn't bad for Baeza, so give me Baeza to win by, I'm gonna say, first round knockout there. All right. Oh god, man, tough fight here. Not a fight I'm overly interested in seeing, but I see a lot of people really confident in the Josh Parisian side there. And Parisian, he is 31 years old, 6'4", which I do like. He's going to have a 6-inch height advantage, a 79-inch reach, which is going to be a 4-inch reach advantage as well. 13-3 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights, so he has been on a run here. Parker Porter, 35 years old, 6 foot, 75-inch reach, 10-6 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Porter went in there and got knocked out by Chris Stockus in his last fight, and I couldn't not believe it. Like, Porter was the favorite in that fight, so I was all over Chris Stockus in that fight. And taking a look at the odds here, Parisian is -230, opened up -240, so line's kind of right where it opened up. Parker Porter +190. Opened up +180, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Parisian here to win the fight. I do think he is, the better fighter overall. I'm just not overly impressed with the dude. Like, I don't know if he should be -230 or nothing like that. I'm definitely not gonna add him into parlays, but I do think he's the faster fighter, the more athletic fighter. I do like he has a reach and height advantage as well. And Parker Porter, I don't know. He looks okay. He has some decent experience. Parisian, 92% finish rate. Parker Porter, 80% finish rate. I think if either guy gets on top, they'll have a lot of success. I've seen Parisian taken down a decent amount of times in his career. So yeah, if Porter can take him down, sure, he'll have some success, but that's just not something I've seen Porter do all that much. And if Parisian gets on top of Porter, Parisian has some really good ground and pound. So I'm going to say Parisian clips him at some point. Porter does not have the best chin by any means. He's been knocked out 4 times in 16 fights. So I'm going to say Parisian gets him out of there for a knockout. Not overly confident in it. Kind of sketchy. Parisian, I'm not overly impressed with the guy, but I do like him in this matchup. Might be a fade going forward for sure, but he should get it done here against Parker Porter, who's 34 years old. 35 years old, my bad. And I do think he's going to be at a lot of disadvantages physically in this fight. So kind of want to see the weigh-ins for this. I heard that Parker Porter has slimmed down a little bit, so could be something to look at. And speaking of the weigh-ins, tune into the weigh-in show Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as always. The weigh-in show is very important. Gives my final thoughts, all that good stuff. Give out some bets as well. Gave out 1 bet so far. I'll give out a lot more on Friday. So, yeah, so give me Parisian by, I'm going to say, first round knockout. All right, so in my opinion, I thought the Dumont and Smith fight was hard to call. I thought the Mazany and Ostovich fight is hard to call. But I think this is probably the hardest fight to call here. And that is Anthony Smith versus Devin Clark. And Anthony Smith, man, he's 32 years old, still kind of young in the fight, in his career, but the dude's had 49 fights. And Anthony Smith, he is 32 years old. Like I said, 6'4", 76-inch reach, 33-16 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Devin Clark, he is 30 years old, 6 foot, 75-inch reach, 12-4 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So I do want to get into the numbers a little bit here. Anthony Smith lands 2.97 significant strikes with a 46% accuracy. He absorbs a ton of significant strikes, 4.43, with only a 42% striking defense. Devin Clark lands 3.4 significant strikes per minute with a 57% striking accuracy, and he absorbs only 2.47 with a 48% striking defense. So as for the grappling stats, Smith Lands 0.41 takedowns with only a 25% takedown accuracy. I don't see him getting a takedown in this fight. Devin Clark does have an 83% takedown defense. Devin Clark does average 2.76 takedowns himself with a 36% accuracy. And yeah, this fight is so tough to call because this is a big step up in a way. That's a big step up in competition, just name value for Devin Clark going from Alonzo Menafield, who I'm high on personally, but going to Anthony Smith, who has, you know, been through it all. 49 fights. He's been knocked out 3 times, been submitted 3 times as well. A very durable guy. They call him Lionheart for a reason. This dude has a ton of heart. And Devin Clark is kind of on the chinny side. He's been knocked out twice. He's been submitted twice. He's been finished 4 times in 16 fights. And I don't know, Smith has looked so bad in his last 2 fights against Glover Teixeira. Got absolutely dominated in that fight. And against Alexander Rakic, got absolutely dominated in that fight. And I kind of let it slide, the Teixeira performance a little bit, because he said he wasn't able to train much. He said he was using his wife's workout equipment to work out. So I kind of let it slide just a little bit there. But the Rakic performance, man, that really did it for me. I do think Smith is, you know, pretty much on his way out for sure, to say the least. I do think he's pretty shot, honestly. Like, he's looked bad. He showed absolutely nothing in that Rakic fight. Took a couple leg kicks. The dude quit. He got taken down and did nothing off of his back. And it seems like such a good matchup for Devin Clark here. And that's crazy to say, because if this was 2-3 years ago, even maybe a year ago, like Anthony Smith, that would be such an easy fight for Smith here. It really would. But the amount of damage Smith has taken, especially as of late, yeah, I think the dude's done. I really do. I don't think he wants it anymore. He gets hit and he shells up. And I'm gonna go with Devin Clark. I'm gonna pick the underdog. Would I be completely shocked if Anthony Smith went out there and finished him in the first round? No. Maybe finished him late in the fight? No. He has a good submission game. A lot of his wins come by submission, and Devin Clark has some pretty questionable submission defense, but I just can't trust Anthony Smith to do that. And I see a lot of people betting Anthony Smith. I would not do that. If anything, it's definitely dog or pass, but personally, big stay away on this fight for me. Like I said, if this was a couple years ago, sure, yeah, Smith all day 100%, but at this point in their careers, I think Smith's done. I think Clark has the game plan to just hold Smith up against the cage, take him down. If he stays out of trouble, he's going to win a decision. Could Smith catch him in a sub? Sure, I guess. Maybe look at this Smith sub prop, maybe the Smith knockout prop. But yeah, I'm going to go with Clark here. Not going to bet it. I think Smith is going to be a popular bet this week, because seeing him at the price he is at, minus 140, for a guy like Smith, a lot of people do like the guy, really well-known guy against Devin Clark. Like, a lot of people hate, like, a lot of people do not like Devin Clark. So I think Smith's going to be a really popular bet. I wouldn't really bet Smith, especially at minus 140. But I'm going to take Clark to win by decision. I think if he stays out of trouble, he's going to win this. But yeah, not overly confident. Like I said, it's probably the toughest fight to call, but it's really hard to pick Anthony Smith at this point of his career. All right, then finally we have the main event. And yeah, so pretty decent fight here, I guess. It's just, Curtis Blaydes, 29 years old, 6'4", 80-inch reach, 4-10-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Derrick Lewis, 35 years old, 6'3", 79-inch reach, 24-7, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. I do want to get into the numbers a little bit. So the striking numbers, Curtis Blaydes lands 3.55 significant strikes per minute compared to Derrick Lewis's 2.64, extremely low volume. This dude does not throw much at all. When he does throw, he goes in these little flurries. He does have a lot of power, though. Blaydes does not absorb much at all, as does Lewis. Blaydes absorbs only 1.7 significant strikes per minute with a 57% striking defense. Derrick Lewis absorbs 2.09 significant strikes per minute with a 44% striking defense. And this is the grappling stats, which I think are going to be big in this fight, obviously. So Blaydes does average 6.98 takedowns for 50 minutes. Like, really good wrestler. Really good cardio as well. I know people crapped on his cardio in his last fight. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But Derrick Lewis has a 52% takedown defense. Like, this seems like the prime matchup for Curtis Blaydes. And watching tape on Lewis, like, he has a legit awful takedown defense. Like, he gets taken down at will. He got taken down in his last fight by 44-year-old Algeo Oleinik. He got reversed by Oleinik as well, and he just gives out the takedown. He can't stop the takedown at all. Imagine that against a really good wrestler in Curtis Blaydes. It just seems like a recipe for disaster. And when he's on his back, he does nothing. He just lays there. He, just relaxes a little bit. Maybe, I don't know, takes his time. And when he wants to, he just explodes up, and that does take a lot of energy, but he is able to do it. And he lets guys just get into dominant positions. He lets guys get into side control. He lets guys get right into mount. He let Oleinik get into a dominant position, almost submit him. And he said after that fight that he was like a second away from tapping to Algeo Oleinik. And I don't think it's a good idea to let a guy like Curtis Blaydes get into mount here. Someone with pretty solid ground and pound. Very dangerous on the ground. I know he wasn't able to get Volkov out of there, but man, I don't know. So I think this is a really good fight for Curtis Blaydes here. I really do. Outside of Lewis catching him, I think that Blaydes should win here. Blaydes has been knocked out twice, a little bit on the chinny side, but both of his knockout losses are from Francis Ngannou. So how much can we really look into that? Like, Francis Ngannou, the hardest hitters we've probably ever seen. And yeah, Derrick Lewis has some decent power. He doesn't have like Francis Ngannou power, but he has a really good power. He really does. I think he has set the record for most knockouts in the heavyweight division. But Derrick Lewis has been finished a lot himself. He's been finished 4 times by knockout. He's been submitted once as well by Daniel Cormier. And I know a lot of people crap on Blaydes' cardio from his last fight. I think people are looking into that way too much. I don't think Lewis is going to put up as much as a fight, whether it's stuffing the takedowns, whether it's working their way up, as a Volkov. Because like I said, Lewis basically allows the takedown. Lewis just lays there and does absolutely nothing. If anything, I think Lewis is going to be the tired one. It's going to take a lot of energy to explode up. All Blaydes is going to do is basically just lay on Lewis, really land some ground and pound. Yeah, I like this fight for Blaydes a lot. I think he's going to probably get Lewis out of there. I want to say in the first couple rounds. I think the under 1.5 is not a bad look for this fight. And I'm struggling to find a path to victory outside of Lewis landing a shot, and I don't think Blaydes is going to give him that opportunity. What I like about Blaydes is he knows what his bread and butter is, and that's the wrestling there, and he goes to it right away. Can Lewis land one of those knees he's doing on a takedown attempt from Blaydes? Maybe, but I just think that's really unlikely, and we'll take a look at the odds here. Curtis Blaydes minus 360, Derrick Lewis plus 300. A lot of people are going to complain that line's too wide, and I don't think it's too wide at all. I think it's fine. I do think he wins. I really like the matchup for him. Would I be completely shocked if Lewis knocked him out? No, but it just seems like such a good matchup for Blaydes here. So give me Blaydes here. I'll probably definitely be looking to parlay him as well, just because you can't really ask for a better matchup with his style of getting the takedowns and using that ground game against Derrick Lewis, who has virtually no takedown defense, has virtually no ground game, very untechnical when he's getting up. Whatever he's doing on the mat, very, not technical with anything he's doing here. So gotta go Curtis Blaydes all day. If anybody's picking Lewis, let me know, because I don't know. Outside of a knockout shot, I think Blaydes is going to dominate this fight. So yeah, give me Curtis Blaydes to win here. And that's about it. I'm going to quickly go over my picks. Curtis Blaydes, Devin Clark, Josh Parisian, Miguel Baeza, Spike Carlisle, Rachel Ostovich, underdog there. Norma Dumont, another underdog there. Martin Day, Mudaerji, Luke Sanders, Kai Kamaka. So yeah, picking a couple underdogs. Devin Clark. Should be a fun card, I guess. I mean, this card's really not great from a name value standpoint, but some fights I'm really looking forward to see. Thank you guys so much for your support. As always, all my betting content's going to be free. My betting breakdowns on Saturday. My live stream where I give out all my bets. I'll give out all my bets on Twitter and Instagram usually. But if you want to support me more, a lot of guys always ask, how can I donate? The best way is signing up on the Patreon, which is the link below. In that, you get the the stat model with all the stats for every fighter. You get a betting breakdown. I've already got I think like 3 or 4 betting breakdowns out. So when I do place a bet, I get it out there so you guys can jump on the line, and then I do a video breaking down the bet and why I like it. And then of course the article towards the end of the week, where I also have a Hail Mary parlay in there as well. So lots of good stuff in there. If you guys are interested in that, you can sign up. If not, that's all good. Just leave this video a like. It really helps out a lot. Subscribe if you have not yet. Again, helps out a lot. And yeah, good luck, guys, on Saturday. Hopefully win some money on this crappy card. I think there's a lot of good spots here. So see you guys Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for the live stream.